doesn't compulsory taxation prove that government is non-essential? Because if government is essential to civilization, if it's essential to society, and if it's essential to the health and welfare of humanity, then why is humanity forced to support it at gunpoint? Isn't that a little odd? I don't have to point a gun at a bird and tell it to go fossicking around in the dirt looking for worms. I don't need a government employee to point a gun at me and tell me to draw breath or drink water or to eat my dinner. And neither does any other creature in this world, right? If it's essential, it takes care of itself on account of its being essential, doesn't it? I would have thought so, but I guess the question is, if government is essential to the existence of man, then how did man exist long enough to invent it? That would sort of imply that it's more that man is essential to government, not that government is essential to man. But then maybe you'd say that it's not essential to life, it's just essential to the good life, right? That if it wasn't for government, we wouldn't have roads, and we wouldn't have railways, and we wouldn't have airports, and we'd be living in trees or in caves or something like that. But that is an appeal to utility, which, if you ignore morality, is not a valid point to make. For instance, it would be the same as a mugger saying that, on account of it benefiting him to mug you, that's what makes it okay, because all acts of evil are beneficial to the evildoer. That's what tempted them to do it in the first place, right? So we can't just make an appeal to utility and ignore morality, because that's what, even a pedophile could do that, and while trying to tell us how good child molestation is, because it benefits him, right? So it would seem as though that government is a pyramid scheme, and you don't necessarily have to be sitting on the capstone to benefit from it, so long as you're not on that bottom rung of the pyramid, you're doing okay. Because if you're in the middle class, sure, you're being raped by the level above you, but you also get to, in your turn, rape the level beneath you. It's only those people on the ground floor that are getting raped but not raping. That they're the ones specifically who need the government guns pointed at them, forcing them to participate in the system, right? So that we can all feed off of them. Isn't that what's happening? That bottom level of the pyramid that's propping the whole thing up, that gets no respect ever. Is that what's going on? I don't really know. But even if we were to concede, okay, government is the only way that you could ever achieve the good life. It's not moral, but it's good, right? Okay, but in that case, why is government so utterly petrified of competition? Because usually the desire to have a monopoly stems from the understanding that your business practices could never survive any competition. In fact, isn't that the sole purpose of monopoly? Is to allow the monopolizer to deliver a subpar product but still stay in business. And even then, I don't think monopolies do the monopolizer any good in the long run. Just look at the left. They've had a monopoly on entertainment for the longest time. And now, finally, thanks to the internet, people from the right are finally able to contribute to entertainment. And now, through all those years of complacency and atrophy, the left, their abilities have become so enfeebled that they can't compete anymore. Even when they try to, every time the left tries to compete, it backfires in their face, right? As we've seen by every single woke movie or TV show that's ever been released. Now, if we take something like McDonald's, they have no monopoly over cheeseburgers, right? And if anything, the existence of Burger King has only ever served to improve the quality of service from McDonald's, which is a net gain for that corporation. Now, if McDonald's had been allowed to have a monopoly this whole time, their quality of service and their product may have deteriorated to such an extent that there wouldn't be anyone in the world left who's even willing to eat a cheeseburger. Right? Now, is McDonald's essential to human life? No. And yet it prospers without the need to force its product on people at gunpoint. Why do the governments of the world lack the confidence of even a fast food chain? Isn't that kind of startling? I mean, I was under the impression that a good product sold itself, and if a product can only move units if it's accompanied with threats of extortion and kidnap, then I'm pretty sure we can rest assured that product is garbage, right? So we're left with one of two alternatives. Either government is essential, in which case there's no need at all for it to violently impose itself upon us. There's thousands of non-essential businesses that are able to thrive without having to resort to violence. Why would the most essential business of them all require it? Or is it that government is completely unessential and its only means of survival is through the exploitation of a captive and coerced customer base? Which do you think it is?